dziripo kunyora ndakanyora because ndiri despondent asi nyaya dziri kuitika hadzisi kunakidza saka mamuchiti mabvunzo
aiwa ndachibvunza kuti pa 54 countries dzemuafrica ndidika there is a perception. I don't know whether it's a perception or it's a reality. I don't know what's going on in PAP. I suspect
perception
yekuti they are all poor or they are failing.
Yeah, and then I think when we can talk to 54 countries, 54 countries in Africa, I usually always try to deviate from that because one, and this Friday, Africa is a continent. And then our address is Zimbabwean, not African. I'll tell you why. Can I trim from Europe? My Germans don't want my Germans, my English don't want my English, my Welsh don't want my Welsh, my French don't want my Belgians, Polish, everyone. What that helps them do is one not return our identity. So my mistakes I relate with my mistakes. I'll say, for example, Patiri was say West Europe. My mistakes are not ku Poland and East Europe. They will be in no way associated with West Europe. My mistakes are not Nema, well, other countries, say for example Ireland, as associated with in France. Identity. So I suppose Zuid Kappa continent through brush one brush, known as Africans. And it seems to me one I'm African, yeah, it's good, Tirima Africans. But being broader, chimbofunga about it, a few good things, she come needs when you guys in Africa. Zinongo absorb one bed video, pa BBC, che one nika in Africa around one was funny. Awambo for are positive reviews about continent here. Then the reason I don't have to tell about Zimbabwe, Kwataka Banako from Rhodesia Skapatawa. Stability and I were Taramena Wondo, Chimring and all that, but tina stability, tina stability, and food as much as East Africa, Central Africa, and all that. And from an economics point of view, tina leverage, because my channels of trade are very stronger than Mangoran, yes. But weakness, yatos, Salatana, and they would to not identify as Africans. And if, say, United Nations can have ordinary people, what's not going to continent bed, if they're thinking of doing business, then you guys will be saying, I'm doing business with Africans. It's like a perception, negative perception here. You know, compromise a value you're not going to generate as an individual. Because what benchmark?
None.
Never and my outsiders or deal around because to them you're an African person. So an African person regardless of where you are from.
But should we be allowing them to benchmark us?
We are.
Are we not responsible for our own benchmarking?
We are allowing them by allowing the whole world to address us as Africans. Those are in Ziramba.
At the same time,
identify as Zimbabwe.
At the same time, Africa united and did it.
That is a different debate. Triple identity. Man's what example and can I my address my British, my Europeans?
Can I go Africa? The some British name French up. Can you tell the difference?
But when you talk Tarisam Africa, known as my symbols, and Danida, whatever, can I should address them? Me German, me French, me Czech. Man, it's not what is the Nezavari. Why are we allowing the rest of the world to brush us?
Can I ask now flag also?
But it's not Bunza. And no Bunza. Muno kanataka ungana. One good. African.
You know, branding up.
Well,
yeah, we've done enough as African countries because I think the reason why European countries
we haven't.
Are able to be noticed as being different is because they have done something
They know the
towards their branding.
They know the importance of individual identity. Munofunga kuti mimi Britain iri kubudirira from a global European platform. Brexit, it's for the same reasons. Individual sovereignty is the simplest way to describe that.
Kana takutora sovereignty manje inenge ya monopolize on a politics.
Wow,
because we want sovereignty.
Discussion here another day, but because in partners zvakawanda zvataka adopt but we don't apply it correctly, that is a separate topic. Because how we manage our identity or how we describe our sovereign sort of state, where we are is the reasons we do those things are so many.
Let's go back to the economic issue.
Yeah,
okay, we know the 54 countries failing. Okay, we know the Zimbabwe is failing. Indeed. Why are we failing as Zimbabwe?
Why are we failing as Zimbabwe?
Why is our economy in tatters, or is it not?
Well, it is in tatters. How can we? Apana chemuviga economy. Well, my one apana economy ripo. Full stop. Others can argue different ways, but it's in tatters because at manage your economic activity.
What do you mean by
economic activity? Economic activity, related to genetic umagarire so muna anaenda kubasa mukwenda kubasa kana kwenda kuchikoro
especially kubasa because with 90% unemployment it means if those people are not going to work it means they can't afford to
upon economic activity, and that said Skaratauktara globally as a nation now, you could argue to my argument I because kune to
my vendors.
Yeah. Tagurana economy my vendor. But economy, that's economic activity. Activity. The only problem they would to then could say pull together could Mario yoga pin central point minor kwanza could generate your build national income. So the national income about ameno Maria inini indicators ndika gadzira mota yangu yemawaya ndikakutengesera ndikusara nemari yangu zvandikuita nayo it's not measured. One, two, I school feeder into trade. I've never seen any economy thinking Zimbabwe, so it's quite difficult to indeed related to any economic
it's
theory.
like some people would say kuti mari irimo muZimbabwe anderika kana kuti toti irimo yacho, because we can't say irimo as if there's enough. Irimo yacho ka haisi channels, haisi official channels ekuti it can be measured. Government can collect taxes.
Chimiranda kumisepa. Amuna mari muZimbabwe. Kana mune mari
iri pasi pepilo.
Kana pasi pepilo hapana. I'll tell you why.
Kuvanhu vari kutenga one motor overseas.
Ndo vatoda kuti ndiyete kutsanangurira mari manje. Mari iri muZimbabwe haisi yeZimbabwe. Saka for those, just on those bases.
Can you explain that?
Mari. Kana munhu ari muZimbabwe ari kutenga, you could argue in so many other countries kana vamsvika trade platforms ngavi uchitenga donje fodya whatever, you use the US dollar for purchasing parity, but that's different from what I'm saying. So ndikutaura ndezvekuti economy yamuta nandoda kuti kurana economy, but at the same time ndataura kuti hachina economy, saka hatisi kurana economy. Mari iri kucirculate mu community mu society yeZimbabwe.
Can we say that the government is not in charge of the
mari iri kucirculate mu society yeZimbabwe haisi mari yeZimbabwe, saka we can't even identify with that. Whereas if you take that argument, if you go on my trade platform, you take crude oil, not take a dollar, US dollar, that's acceptable. But at the same time, your retail money that circulates in your retail environment is your own currency. When you go to export, then you can trade energy. The mama purchasing parities are but society medu mari iri kusekileta imomo haisi yedu saka hatina mari.
Do you want to explain purchasing parity kana kuti we can do that at a later stage?
There's omwe musi ngari seja but bottom line is
like I'm thinking kuti the reason why mari tichita munava is because say if I send $100 to Zimbabwe right now, because that money is going to be spent elsewhere and not necessarily Zimbabwe itself, because atina my products. So if we're going to buy to South Africa, it means we're taking that money to South Africa. Or if someone is going to buy a car in Germany using that money, it means that money is coming back to Europe.
Those are about in society we do not have from a retail perspective. There's no retail money at Inamari. So what it's not
retail money in they're spend within the country.
Yes, we can have gross on and then Marian English then retail that it moves into retail banking. Quality maybe you can manage your savings account and your current account. Start tapping down other
loan and all that.
Oh, even loans. You can have your bank loans through from a retail perspective. So when I'm okay, network day to day. At certain corporate, then other things. So I know Mario Atina. So for that reason, I'm talking about Munarune Akapa Burua can Zimbabwe marry through Western Union. It's highly likely to Munatora marry Western Union in Zimbabwe. Acha Buddha across a border end of South Africa or not spend a Maria retail environment in South Africa. Therefore, South Africa it will benefit more through retail economic activity, whereas Isuzu, our retail economic activity is non-existent because yacho iripo kande kuti tungochinjira tumafufu change through maputi andatengesera iwewe and tanatenga kuna but atina structure and Maria
ko issue ya board not maybe
in
terms of
those are because in when you inotoda because vanhu vari kuintroduce those are but sometimes vafanira kukanda shit pambedha wobva wataura kuti hapana mubhedha apa kukanda bedspread waviga mubhedha hauna kuviga mubhedha unenge uripo so you can't it's wool over people's faces. They've got compelling reasons why they're doing it, but the bottom line is that is not the solution. Anyway, end of the day, before I get up at that level from 1980 to 2016, 36 years. Because those capacity jobs that to my bond to the Pakatanga Shaka Marine Zimbabwe, why saves in this stuff. Marino Shaka because industry is either declining or dying. There's no growth. Economy is not growing, so there's no national income.
But I think maybe talking about another time, Yaguti marriage queried and did it. If you're going to give a salary to civil servants and you give them on the understanding they can afford to pay it back if it's credit, and they cannot afford to pay it back if they're working.
They pay it back by activity.
Yes,
they pay it back by activity, but
which means you can print as a central bank, you can print Marino Indran and a workforce which is how these people are gainfully employed. They get paid every month, and they can pay my loans. I mean, they can pay taxes, and those taxes can fund public services.
Yeah, but then argument, you do not run an economy entirely on taxes generated and circulated around public service. If you want an active economy, you need industry, converter. A conversion industry. So you need your manufacturing. You need
a value addition.
well, you need your farming, you need your manufacturing, you need your retail, because.
But in a value addition, because farming here.
That's the whole point. Those people add value through providing whatever products and services that we need. The difference now, the reason I'm moving from public service always drains without getting back. So even if you tax a public servant based on what you've given them, change but manufacturing gives you raw money.
The public services are well catered for.
No, but
as a government.
But in the long run.
But you need to grow that economy.
If you look at your economic curve in the long run, you need your manufacturing to provide the goods that will generate that money for you to be even able to pay that first dollar to the civil servant.
I've got a tough question for you. Britain has got rid of a lot of their manufacturing and opted for the service industry. I read somewhere that the service industry itself is not sustainable.
No, it's not.
Which is why they are struggling.
No.
Which is why
I don't think they will struggle. But what you need to understand, position in the economy in Britain and position in the economy are two different places. These guys, based on history, pre-colonization, even my days as slavery,
back hundreds of
they
years.
managed to create my balances, my portfolio in Mariabo through economies. They don't even at this point in time, manufacturing anymore, but they don't need it to be as heavy as it was during industrial revolution. Because what they've managed to do, actually, in terms of national income, they get more income through money in than their own gross domestic produce. So when a country gets to that level, and most countries...
Matara an important and give up a national income.
Yeah, national income, that's what runs the economy. But
and
to do that, that's what now tells by economic curve, you have to look at the long run effect. And these things are not just talking 30 years, 60 years. These are things later. 100 years, 200 years.
If you look at my expatriates and my British who are employed outside the country.
Forget expatriates.
But for national income, their income is considered as part of the British.
Yeah, but that's not even what I'm talking about. I'm talking about British petroleum. My industry, it's not dealing with British petroleum. Look at my companies.
Yeah, I think you're already know that day.
Germany. You chance my Bosch engines. Daimler engines.
Yeah.
Those countries, they start making more money from other countries than they. So you can't compare that. We don't have anything like that. Chimonpa one Zimbabwean product in order to income from outside Zimbabwe. Mozambique
but my China drogo atengera forja. So that on a president.
But forja to be tengesa kubva munyika medu, so it's our gross domestic produce. Ndikutaura kwata seta industry mune nyika such that yakungotipa mari zvichitikira iko. Say for example, nobody in South Africa mune BMW.
You know kuti de vanhu vaiziva anditi ka. Munhu anonzi Stride Masiwa anditi ane Econet yake, it's now I think even Australia or New Zealand, something like that.
It's very global.
It's in Botswana.
It's very global, but
do you think you were getting part of that income?
No, Maria, I pin in Zimbabwe Stock Exchange because Zimbabwe are in a stock exchange. Those are two that in Zimbabwe.
So we are going to be stock exchange.
All right.